Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the locker room on this Friday, August 26th. I'm Alan Locher. Actors Paul Witten and Gregory Zarian are here today to discuss their roles playing husbands in the new Netflix romantic comedy, That's Amor, currently streaming on the platform. Gregory is an award-winning actor, model, and host. He can most recently be seen in a recurring role on the HBO hit series Westworld and in the feature film 86 Melrose Avenue. In May 2020, he was nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award in the Outstanding Performance by a Supporting Actor in a Digital Drama for a role on the Emmy-winning web series Venice, which will begin shooting very, very soon, and we'll talk about that. He has also recurred on Days of Our Lives and General Hospital and guest starred on Entourage, Criminal Minds, Bones, among many, many, many others. He can currently be seen in the new Mystery Incorporated pilot episode, which is a live-action series based on the characters from Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? Next, he will be filming the second episode of Mystery Incorporated and will co-star in the horror comedy film Martinez, Margaritas, and Murder, due out next year. Paul Witten is an actor, writer, producer who can be seen in the film The Comeback Trail with Robert De Niro and in the series All Rise, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Morning Show. Paul created, co-wrote, and starred opposite Jane Lynch in the Emmy-winning comedy series Dropping the Soap, available on Amazon. It is my pleasure to welcome Gregory Zarian and Paul Witten to the locker room. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
You are so welcome. It's nice to meet you, Paul.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
I enjoyed the movie. People should watch. Romantic comedies are fun. Do you both have a favorite romantic comedy?
You go first.
What? What'd you say?
You go first.
I love romantic comedies. It's one of my favorite genres. So I would say it was When Harry Met Sally for many, many years. I think that's a near perfect romantic comedy. And Bridesmaids. That there were all of these women, you know, I feel like there was a narrative for so long saying that women can't open movies, and that's so not true. And I know that's reaching a little further back, but that's just one of my favorite. I think it's such a wonderful, funny, heartfelt. I just think that knocked it out of the park. So Bridesmaids. And is Devil Wears Prada, would that be a rom-com? I don't know if that's a rom-com.
That's interesting. I mean, it had a romantic tinge to it, so.
Yeah, I don't know if that falls into the genre, but I'm going to put it in there and say that those are three that come to mind.
Well, and you just, by mentioning When Harry...
Sorry, and that's Amore is the new
Amore.
one.
I didn't pronounce it right.
I don't know
you made me want to watch When Harry Met Sally again.
It's so good. Like, I can probably quote it. And when did that come out in what, 89? So I was barely born, obviously. But it was so good and so funny. Greg, what are yours?
No, I mean, since you took everything I was going to say, and being the gentleman that I am, and since I have a history with Alan, I, of course, said, please go first.
Right.
I texted you, say Bridesmaid, it always wins. So I'm glad you got the text.
I didn't get the text, but thank you. You can't get him off the stage. He's got it.
Since you took everything, I'm going to say the original Halloween.
I think I support that choice.
You know, Michael Myers loved Laurie Strode.
Yeah, still does. There's a new one coming in October.
It is, right? Halloween Kills. You know, I'm going to say Bridesmaid again. I don't. You know, you root. You know, you root for all of them, and you know, as Paul also said, you know, we are in the number 7 movie trending on Netflix right now. That's Amor. And
that was so smooth. You're so smooth.
You know, and I'm glad you saw it, Alan. It's so sweet. So and there was, because Paul and I went to the premiere last night, and we haven't seen the film. There were just these beautiful moments, like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, okay, that, and then the end wrecked me. Like the end was just like, I didn't see that coming. And
I didn't see that coming either.
And no spoilers. It was just.
I expect. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys were slower to pick up on that. But I'm kidding. I didn't see it going. I was sitting next to you and like tears coming down my face. But you know what? We don't want to give anything away, but it's happy. It's not sad like, oh, she got hit by a car. Nothing like that. It's like
it was a bus, but I mean, you never see the bus coming.
I know. I can't believe I said Amor. Now I'm gonna not live that down. The mother and daughter were terrific together too.
Nancy Lenahan and Riley Dandy are just both such lovely human beings. First of all, like, thank God, right? Because you're spending hours and hours on set with these people, and we were fortunate enough to get several days with them, and I just fell in love with both of them. And Nancy, I was just texting with her this morning. I want to like move to a villa in France and just spend the rest of my days with her. She's so funny and so out of left field funny too, that it's like constant belly laughs.
I watched it so early in the morning, so I don't remember exactly, but there was just one scene where I literally burst out laughing out loud. I forget what the two, I think it was between the two of them, and it was really, really good. So when Gregory had reached out to me, he said you two were friends, old friends. How did you two meet?
Did we meet through the friend whose name we shan't?
Voldemort.
I want to just do one thing real quick.
This friend unfriended me, and I was suddenly persona non grata. But I think that's who I don't know why, by the way. But I think that's not bad, isn't it?
No, we met. Yeah, right. The person that shall be nameless. I just want to say one thing. One thing I loved about Nancy Lenahan is she's old school. She's funny as all heck. And to watch her in between everything was watching for me just magic. I mean, everything she did and said was tactile. So she's delicious, and I want to move to the villa in France with.
Oh, please, yes. Oh my God, do you know how much fun we'd have, dude?
Is that where she lives?
No,
we're going to put her there.
No, okay.
Paul, I would say,
to come too. I mean, like, the more the better.
You don't have to ask twice to go to France.
Right. Paul, I think we've known each other for like inadvertently through a lot of people. We have, the lovely Heather Old, we have the gorgeous Nadia Jorlin, and we have, Sibby, and we have these mutual friendships.
Yeah, you know how those relationships are, Alan, where you kind of see people socially and at parties over the course of years. And our friend Nadia Bjorlin, who he worked with on Days of Our Lives, I'm sure.
Oh, and you know Nadia.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at her wedding, and so we've just seen each other over the years. But I would say it's been the last, 2 or 3, kind of over the pandemic, where Greg, I just adore and has become one of my nearest and dearest. He's one of the kindest, genuinely most kind, thoughtful, conscientious gentlemen I know, truly.
I will second that, as I've gotten to know him over the course of this show. Was this the first time the two of you got the opportunity to work together?
I'm going to say yes. I got to work on this movie because of Paul, but I want to say this is as horrific for many as the pandemic was, and I call it a global car crash. And I think we've talked about that before, Alan, and I'm sure I've mentioned it to you, Paul. What was beautiful for me is friendships evolved. And, Paul, we've always had this really fun banter. We've always been very authentic with each other, and through the names, the friendships that I mentioned, if Paul had a show, I'd go see his show. I went to he was lovely and invited me to Dropping the Soap. And if any of you haven't seen it, you have to run. It is hysterical and comedic. That is one of my favorite comedies. He's phenomenally talented. But when you know people in the world or at events and stuff, you know them there. COVID really connected us, and we sat in the backyard with my John, and there were many times that we were on our own and we weren't on our phones, and we talked for hours. And I want to say we saved the world. We got intimate. We laughed, we cried, And it was just this, pardon?
Greg fell asleep a couple of times. I'm not kidding. I'm afraid he might be narcoleptic, but there were literally where we would all be talking, and this was Greg. I'm not joking. He'd be like, so he just would check out just for the briefest 20 seconds.
He needed a little nap.
No, Alan, him and John talk so much, and their voices just went. But I came back. I come back every time.
You never dropped the chin. That's what's so impressive. You kept forward, still strong jawline, and just the eyes that start to kind of go dead, like when you're watching a really bad play or something. You just start going really dead, and you'd start to slowly lower the lids, and then we'd catch you. And you deny it for 10 minutes. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I love that. Wait, Gregory, you said you did this because of him.
Paul. Yeah, Paul has a friendship with Christina Moore. She acts in the movie, and she's a dear friend of him, and she is of his, and she is one of the producers of the production company ESX Entertainment. And her husband John Ducey wrote this love story, and they reached out to Paul and said, "Hey, we want you in this movie. Is there somebody that you connect with that could play your husband?" And they could have gone through the casting phase and done all that, but what I really love is they really wanted to portray Paul's character in a relationship. And because we already have a relationship and we went deeper and we just have this really fun connection, he called me and he said, "Do you want to?" And I said, "Of course I do." And please feel free.
Great way to get a job.
For both, right?
Yeah.
It was an offer, and it was lovely because I had worked, as Gregory said, with Christina before, and her husband John had written something that I had done before many years ago. So we haven't worked together in many, many years. So I was kind of surprised when I get this, ask from them, and very flattered. And they were really conscientious about wanting to use actors that were gay, because obviously the climate that we're in, we're finding our footing still, but I love that people are trying to really cast, gay actors in gay roles. And I was so excited to say yes. And when they also extended the option of me kind of approaching someone that I wanted to spend a week with and hang out with, that would be fun and a great addition to the set and the cast, I thought of Gregory because he's so fun. And he said yes, thankfully. And we had bang up time and stirred the a lot.
You could say shit.
Okay. Like Isaac, the lead in Isaac Rossi. Isaac Gonzalez Rossi might be what his professional name, but he's the loveliest human being. He's so handsome, first of all, and kind and funny and thoughtful, conscientious. I can go on and on.
Oh, wait. The lead male? Is that who you said? Oh, he's a little handsome. A little.
He's a little handsome. And you should even see he smiles, and you just go, "I'm sorry, my knee's buckled, and I'm now." But what makes him even hotter is that he's so nice and warm and funny and a little bit wicked. So he's such a great, and he's recently married. So sorry, ladies, but he's a doll. But he was saying last night, you kept making me laugh in our coverage.
It's very helpful when handsome men are nice.
Yeah. And
it's
so
very nice. So a lot of your scenes, I mean, really most of them take place in a cooking class.
Mm-hmm.
Are you both good cooks?
Nope.
No.
Neither one?
I'm great at cleaning. If you cook,
me too. That's the relationship I have with my husband.
I'm a Virgo, so I'll clean everything. But don't make me think of a meal and do all of the prep. I have learned to throw stuff in a bowl really beautifully and create a nice salad. And I've learned now that if you put oil and salt, pepper, and garlic in a frying pan and dice up into little chicken nuggets, that's a nice moment too. But that's kind of the extent. Oh, and pasta, but everyone can do pasta.
Most people, yes, absolutely. How would you? we, we talked about the movie being a romantic comedy, but how would you describe the movie to people watching? Who wants to?
I'll take it. And as far as cooking, I'm good with a good Himalayan salt on everything. I can do a pepper mill. When we were filming, as I said last night, when we were interviewed on this thing, I would always give Paul the sharp objects. I'm like, he'll do it. So all I had to do was squeeze the lime, find my life, and love my husband.
And looks while doing it.
Here's what I love about the movie. And this is no shame to dating on app game, but it's two people meeting in an experience. I think I've told you this, and Paul knows the story. I met my husband, and we've talked about this before, Alan, is being sober. I was in, and I've had to get his permission to out him. I met him in a 12-step meeting, and he walked past me, and it was like, hi. And he really wanted nothing to do with me at the time. However, he caught my eye, and I love that. I do. And when you're in a recovery meeting, it is a room full of honesty because you are there to help the newcomer. So John and I were introduced and we chatted, and I then had to share my story. So all my deepest and darkest secrets came out, and what's so beautiful about this story is, and I love the way they share it on film, these really beautiful moments where they are engaging a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And, the awkwardness becomes a little bit more familiarity, and the questions and the uncover and discover. And I love that. I am very, very old school. When I was single and on apps, I was like, hey, do you want to call? And they're like, no, I'm going to text you. So it really touched my heart with that, because we are human beings. So it was just really, really special for me with that.
Well, congratulations on 17 years of sobriety, my friend. That is.
Yeah. Paul, don't you feel the same way about them meeting in life and in person, how sweet it is?
Yeah, well, and I love that there's an element of this movie that I really appreciated that took the rom-com genre and made it just a little more edgy is the wrong word, but Riley Dandy, who is the lead in this, it wasn't just all bubbly Meg Ryan, everything's like there's an edge to her, which I think is really lovely, and it's very real. The things that have happened to this young woman in the beginning of the story are tough, and she doesn't just roll over and everything's fine and sunshine flying out of her behind. It's like she's a real person, frustrated, taking it out a little bit on the people around her that love her. Like, that's so real. And I love that they weren't afraid to kind of go down that road with this. And it makes it a challenge, I think, for the leading man to kind of see through that. But there's obviously a chemistry, and that's what it's all about, is like that natural chemistry that you just have with someone that, even at my advanced age, you can't explain it. I mean, who knows who you're going to be attracted to? It's like you were immediately attracted to John when you saw him. I'm immediately attracted to someone in the gym that I don't know. Like, who can explain it? Did you notice I go to the gym? Like,
yeah.
What is it?
Everybody say hello to Paul Witten.
That's an experience. There he goes. Sure.
Guns. I think it's. Did I answer your question? I don't know if I did.
You did.
And Alan, can I say something too, though?
Of course.
What is so lovely is so many people have these hit and miss relationships with their parents. I had a dance with mine. I know Paul's history with his. And one thing that I really love about this movie is the relationship between Riley and Nancy, mom and daughter. And again, as Paul said, it's not this bubbly, oh my God, yay, sunshine coming out of my ass. It's a real situation of a mom loving her daughter, and they both step in and out of each other's role. which, when my father passed away 10 years ago, but I actually had to become the parent to my dad. My father, I had to bathe my father. I had to put him in the shower. I had to take care of him. I had to do all these things, and he did that for me. So they really touch on that beautiful back and forth dance between child, parent, parent, child. And I really thought it was done really well and beautifully. And again, with Riley and Nancy, just playing it so real.
They really did. And we talked about the surprise at the end, but there was even a surprise a little before the end about the mom, what her involvement a little further.
Yes. I had forgotten about that, actually. So it was
I didn't know about it. So
to kind of be and go like, oh,
yeah, it was
nice.
Good. I mean, it was well cast.
John also, who wrote it, he's a very talented man and smart, and I love some of the things that he brought to this genre, like I said, that were a little bit outside of the normal box of romantic comedy. That being one of them, like that was fun and unexpected. I mean, I don't mind expecting things, like that's never anything that I care about. Like there's something comforting about knowing how kind of something's going to go. You may know that an ending is going to happen a certain way, but I don't mind that. I guess I'm easy.
Well, that's a different
right. I never realized what a hairy chest you had. Nice. Can you spare some for my pale ass, please?
I can.
I'll send some to your way, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, the one thing I want to add on to what Paul said about how great it was with John Ducey writing it is we weren't our characters, and I think you saw it, we weren't the stereotypical gay couple.
Yeah.
We just happened to be a married couple that had a life, and we have a history, and we wanted to be in a cooking class. And there were no gimmicks, and the director, Sean Piccinino, he really let us bring who we are and create this relationship. And we never got a no, don't do that. And, you really see this couple love each other and have fun and be charming. And there was nothing stereotypical for me. And I think you feel the same way, Paul. They're like, it's like, what a lovely couple. Oh, and they happen to be gay. So that's what I really respect about ESX and Netflix, about just being more inclusive of where we are in the world.
Just letting it be, seriously, just letting it be. The fact that all three of us, I would assume, did not have these types of role models when we were growing up and coming out.
No, and I do feel like the stereotype, like maybe I'm alone, but I don't mind a little bit of a stereotype. Like that's fine. They're around for a reason because usually there's some accuracy. But what I loved is it wasn't about them being gay. So for me, the simple fact that it's not mentioned, like the whispered aside of like, are they gay? Those kind of things that perhaps we may have all grown up seeing where it had to be acknowledged. I love that whether it's John Ducey, Sean Piccinino, Ali Afshar, ESX, or Netflix, that all suddenly, all were on the same page of it didn't matter. They just wanted to have a gay couple as part of the cooking class, and we didn't have a fatal disease, and there was no mention of it didn't matter. We were just people. So for me, just being two guys and them wanting to kind of honor the fact that they wanted it to be out gay actors, I thought was really cool and a nice step towards, progress. And I really, really appreciated and valued that a lot.
Amen to that. Amen to that. What drew you to acting, Paul?
Oh God, no one's ever asked me that question. That's a good question. It seems so obvious. I guess it was probably as a kid, it was a need to be noticed. I felt a little bit invisible in my family dynamics, so I think there was a part of me that wanted to be seen. That sounded really sad. I shouldn't feel that's that. But you know, but I think there was a part of being a kid, and in my particular situation, I didn't feel as visible maybe as other siblings. I had 3 sisters. So there was that. And growing up watching television, like watching Carol Burnett and watching All in the Family, which I think is so to this day genius. And seeing these people tell these stories that moved me, that affected me, that made me cry, that made me laugh. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to pretend to be someone else and tell a story that makes people laugh and that makes people cry or think. You know, even as a young kid watching All in the Family, some of the episodes to this day that they just still resonate with me. And they're so impactful. And I thought that is the type of thing I want to do in my life. So I guess that's the answer.
And that man is a genius, Norman. There.
And I got to meet him.
Oh, wow.
I'm very rarely tongue-tied, but he's an icon and really nice.
100. It's crazy. 100 years old.
Right?
That is insane. Gregory, remind us what drew you to acting.
Paul, I didn't know your answer to that question, so that was very lovely to hear.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that.
Then I guess our conversations are a lot more shallow than I thought. I think I used to dance on American Bandstand for years, and so I thought that was fun. It was never my thing. Like Lawrence was more of he was the actor of the year, and in every play, and I was a jock. That was what I liked to do. And as we said, I was thrown on a soap opera, and I have grown more. Something was given to me, and I just wasn't ready, and I wasn't very good at the time. So what has drawn me to being the actor that I am is realizing that I as well get to tell stories, and I get to step out of myself and take parts of me and bring the words to life. You know, I 2 words I love: uncover and discover. Even with Paul, we are a married couple in this movie, and we took a specific walk. And for me, it's learning more about people so I can then share more when I'm doing a job. And I think you remember this, Paul, is when we took a hike with Paul's dog, Stevie. How do you hold hands? Do you interlock? Do you hold like this? Do you wear boxers? Do you wear briefs? Do you snore? Don't you snore? And I really just wanted to get this relationship under my skin so that when we were telling our story, do you like to be touched? Do you like intimacies? And the older I become and the more I do it, the more exciting it becomes. When we were kids, and being an identical twin, it was always, we shared everything. And one thing Lawrence and I used to do was we would play dress up, and we survived playing dress up and being these characters that we created. So I, as an adult now, get to play dress up and tell story. And as Paul said, watch TV and do things that I got to bring from when I was a kid to where I am now, and hopefully do it better today than I did yesterday. And the industry, I wasn't great on a soap opera, and it took me years to come full circle. So then I could call the producer that wrote me off days and say, hey, by the way, I took your feedback of telling me that I was nice to look at but not talented, and I just got nominated for an Emmy. So thank you for pushing me out of the nest and saying, don't take this for granted. Don't, because it can be taken away, and if you want to come back, you got to work hard. And it took me over 20 years to get that moment back. So that was a long answer, but that is where it is for me.
I love that.
I love the
Paul,
dress. I love it. Can I just,
the dress up. You want to go back to dress up?
I just want to give a shout out to the costume designer, Elizabeth Jett, of this, because when I first showed up and she was showing what we were doing, she had this idea of wanting us to dress kind of similarly. And I didn't say anything at the time, honestly. This is the first time I've said anything out loud about it, but I was like, I don't know if I like that. Like, I don't want to dress. But I tell you, it was such a gift because it informed something about this couple being so connected and so comfortable. And frankly, in the gay community, there's a lot of what I call mirror love. And there's a lot of like, they all have the same haircut, that skin fade. I mean, which we don't. But it's like, there's so much similarity. And, but there's so much similarity. And I love that there was a nice little wink of that for us, and I ended up loving that. So shout out to her for having this kind of fun little idea that she wanted to play with. I thought it was really nice and sweet, and so I love that. Anyway, what was your?
There are definitely couples who do that, and then there's definitely couples who will not.
But to be comfortable doing that, and to get past my initial interior reticence to kind of make that choice, I just embraced it and thought, oh yeah, they probably know how to have a healthy, loving relationship, unlike me. So it's like playing opposite.
But what was interesting about the costume thing is when we kind of discussed it a little bit, being an identical twin, it didn't mean anything. I'm like, oh my God, it's fun. Even my John and I wore matching clothes because for me, it's fun. So I love that you pointed that out because it really did. When you see it on camera, there's such a sweet connection. I loved it. That's why even with me asking questions and us becoming more connected, it just made more sense.
Yeah, it didn't. It felt like there was a sweetness that it added that I thought was really nice.
That is why costume designers do what they do, right?
They're so unsung. Like, I think editors and costume designers, at least for me as an actor, they can save your ass, at the end. Sure. And also it goes the opposite way too. But luckily, I feel like we've had good luck with that. But costume designers, man, they really can help you find and discover as you're going through those fittings and help make those choices. They're really such artists.
Very true. Paul, tell me about Dropping the Soap, which I have yet to see, but have looked at it with all of the amazing cast members, and also the fact that you grew up watching General Hospital. So please.
Oh, wow. You've done your history. Okay. Yeah. I used to run home as a little kid from school so that I could catch the last little bit. So I think the school bell was 2:30 and General Hospital was from 2 to 3. I would run home and get home for like the last 10 or 15 minutes of General Hospital. I was obsessed.
Who introduced you? Mom?
No, because she didn't watch it. I think because I was kind of a latchkey kid, right? So I think I would just come home and I loved having the television on. It was always, I still to this day, I turn it on when I get up and it goes off when I go to bed, even just for noise. I don't watch a ton of TV, to be honest, but I just like the noise. Mm-hmm. So I think it probably started at that. And then you just kind of go, wait, Luke and who? Laura who? And then it's just become, and that was the timing, right? So Luke and Laura was just this spectacle, big thing. And so I was super interested at a very young, formative age. And then ironically, I got my SAG card from being on General Hospital, which again was a straight offer, which was very uncommon at the time. And it was like a step above an extra, but it just got me my SAG card, which at the time was very hard to get. So that was a nice full circle moment. So when I came up with this idea, I was just trying to create work for myself. In this business, so often you're waiting around for someone else to say yes to you. And I wanted to say yes to myself and create something that would be fun. And we're thinking to hire friends. And so I started working with a couple of friends, and I had this idea while I was taking a nap, which I do every day because naps are amazing. It's so underrated. And I had this idea of like, what about it's behind the scenes of a soap? And I just want to explore that. I think it's funny. And I brought it to another friend of mine, and she wanted to write it together. And she's the primary writer, but she wanted to do it together. And so we just started that ball rolling. And then Jane Lynch saw some kind of early episodes that we were just shooting with, friends on a very, very shoestring budget. And she's like, this is really good. and I'd love to be involved. And then Lisa Kudrow was involved, and Dan Bukatinsky, Don Roos, and we started pitching it. And eventually, through many, many ups and downs, it is on Amazon with 10 episodes with Jane Lynch, John Michael Higgins, Diedrich Bader, Missy Pyle, Christina Moore showed up and did a little thing for me as a favor because I asked her to play one of Jane's early assistants. And we just had so much fun. Ellie Canner is a director. Ellie Canner, she directed it, and she's so good and so much fun. And it was just a pleasure. And then Jane won an Emmy.
That's incredible.
Wait, what? You mean
you did too? I love that.
Wait,
where's Gregory? Where's yours?
Oh yeah, Gregory, where's?
We got to get you on next.
I have a nomination.
No, but you're going back to do Venice the Series.
Paul also forgot Dot Marie Jones.
Oh my God,
Becca Tobin.
Becca Tobin, Nadia Bjorlin.
Jones, Nadia Bjorlin. There were so many good people. Thank you for bringing that. Dot, literally, this Dot story is great. She had heard about it through her manager and was like, oh, that'd be so fun. So we're like, oh my God, would you do this? Would you show up for it? She came in, spur of the moment. We kind of wrote something and said, hey, what about this? And she ran with it. And it's such a funny scene. I couldn't keep a straight face. She's so lovely, Dot Marie Jones. Like everyone was. I mean, there's no one that it wasn't in that.
I'm going to watch this immediately. I mean, I love everybody in there.
And it's short form, right? So it's 10 episodes. So it's like watching a movie because they're each like, I don't know, 10 minutes, something like that. So it's just fun.
That's
amazing.
And you also have to see Alan's short called The Play. Paul's short.
Paul's short, The Play.
Oh, A Play. Yes, yes.
Sorry, A Play.
And I wrote that with my friends Sean Wing and Mara Marini, who are just ultra talented. And it's about the terrible, horrifying experience of seeing theater in Los Angeles.
Paul, you how much are you paying your publicist, Gregory?
I know. I like, should I just Venmo you now?
Yes. No, but can I say something? Here's what I love is, I love when my friends do good things, and I'm not going to pull something out of my ass if I don't mean it. I recently went to something and I was like, oh my God, it was so great to see you.
Right.
And then I saw Christian LeBlanc on Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Allison Page in New York, and they were phenomenal. So I don't get anything out of blowing smoke up someone's.
Wasn't he incredible?
I heard Christian, right? I heard he was amazing.
The moment between him and Allison at the end. Oh my God. So it's just
a really nice guy, by the way, too. Like,
funny guy.
People win. And I want to say too, like, to your point about Gregory just kind of giving me these lovely shout outs, which are, always kind of humble me and make me feel so lucky to have him as a friend. But I know that he means them. And seeing gay men support other gay men, unfortunately, is not something that always happens. And it's so, sadly. But Gregory is such a champ for people that he cares about, that he believes in. And I wish everyone would take a leaf from his book because he's a class act. And not just because he just sang my praises. I mean, that doesn't hurt. And I will Venmo you later. But it's so nice to hear that when people just support each other.
And it's good stuff. But he also just texted me, Alan. He said, you still look fat.
Yeah. Well, you do, babe. I just want
to incredible. Wait, I wanted to read what Sabra said. She said, just my type of movie. I really loved it. I love everything Gregory does. Found him on Venice the Series. He was in season 5 and 6. Played a detective in 5 and the detective's twin in 6. Amazing.
Who is this?
A fan who's watching said to Gregory.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Hi, Sabra. Yeah, and you know what? Crystal Chappelle, who we saw at Nadia's wedding, and that's the very first time I met Crystal, Paul. She's bringing me back for season 7, and I'm excited.
That's awesome. Gregory, I know you're going to have to go in a couple minutes. I want to ask about Scooby-Doo. We talked about it. We talked about it last time you sat down. It's out, first of all, premiered in April. The pilot has garnered 2.7 million views since its premiere. Tell me who you play. Tell me what it was like producing it.
We spoke about 86 Melrose Avenue. Dade Elza, who was the shooter, the former Marine suffering from a PTSD break. He wrote the sizzle and then wrote the pilot with his fiancee, Jessica Chancellor. They are Scooby-Doo buffs. And
love that.
Him and I were doing, because during COVID, we had to pre-record our acceptance speeches for film festivals for 86. He said, yeah, I'm doing Scooby-Doo. Would you play Sheriff Sam Rogers? And I went, and I thought, oh my God. And fast forward to, we filmed it, almost 2.8 million views, and it's on YouTube. It's an independent production. It was a GoFundMe campaign. Fred Lillard, Linda Cardellini, Mindy Cohn, every former Scooby performer has supported it, has retweeted it, has loved it, and it's just kicked ass. And
it's YouTube, right, Greg?
It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
thanks Paul. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm one of the first live Sheriff Sam Rogers, and it's the first live Scooby, and it's a little bit darker, and it's not already they're in the mystery machine. They are in the beginning of their friendships and their introductions, and they have these really great Easter eggs to other shows. And at its best moment, it was in the top 100 on IMDb best of. So I am, and it's kind of like the stuff that we were celebrating with Paul. When you don't have this massive machine, like we all love massive machines, but I believe when something's a little bit more independent, you feel it more. You get the tactility behind it, and I feel you feel it, and you feel the love behind it, and full circle behind That's Amor. It's about this really great people telling really great stories, and at the end of the day, wanting people to feel different and talk about it and go, hey, look what I watched and look what I saw. And because the world is so dark-ish right now, escaping for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and a half. So,
and you're going to film the second one, right?
We have some really exciting things coming up. So
that's awesome. And Venice the Series sort of started the same way. Small, Crystal went and put it out herself.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
Certainly is.
A multi-award winning actress. And then Venice the Series was the first of its kind. Yeah. It really, really was. And now you have all these copycats. But she starts strong, and over 10 years later, she's diving into, and here's what I love about Venice. And when we spoke about it last time, and whenever I speak about it, is I say it's a love story. And then I say, and it's P.S., it's about two women. Who cares? Right. Who cares? It's just a great love story, because love is love. Period.
Amen to that. I know you are going to have to go. I just want to ask Paul one last thing, because Rachel Davis Matthews says, tell your fans about beginning in LA theater in Glendale Center Theater when you were in your teens.
Who's this?
Rachel Davis Matthews.
Oh my God. Yes. I had a very struggling teenage years, right? Kind of could go the bad way or the good way. And theater saved me. And there was a notice put in Backstage West, I think is what it was called at the time, for guys and dolls.
Paper, yes, it was paper.
It was a literal like job hunting for actors paper.
Yeah.
And there was an audition for Guys and Dolls. Now, I had like played Tony in West Side Story in high school very badly and fatly, but I hadn't done theater in ages. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'll go. I sang. You had to have an up-tempo and a ballad. I sang. This is so stupid. Edelweiss and Fame.
Whoa.
And they still asked me. And it saved me. It saved me at a time my life could have really gone truly 2 different directions. And I did that. And I'm a loyal person and I love like consistency and stuff that's habitual. So of course I stayed there for many years and kept doing play after play after play after play and honing my craft, becoming a better actor, making a community of friends and chosen family. And this was a family-owned theater, Glendale Center.
The D-Lines.
And ironically enough, one of my dear friends at the time, who was an older lady, I was a teenager, as this person said, was very good friends with Lawrence Zarian. And I used to hear about Lawrence Zarian and kind of conversely his brother, Gregory Zarian. So all these years later, to then become friends with this man that I had kind of heard about was a little God shot, if you will, or universe shot.
I love that.
So, yeah, it was really, I'm very grateful for those years that I got to do that and play like that.
Well, I'm very grateful the 2 of you stopping by today. Such a pleasure to meet you, Paul. Gregory, my friend, stay well.
I'll be in New York in about a month. We have a date. We have a coffee date.
Oh, I would love that.
I will give you that. It's at the end of September.
Great. I should be here. So
And can I say one thing, Ellen? One thing that
of course, absolutely.
You are one of the good ones. And I really appreciate you within a text and a phone call getting us on here to celebrate the movie that is trending. And just appreciate you, love you, and thank you for just saying yes and being here for us. And I love you, Paul.
I love you, and thank you, Alan, for bringing us.
You're so welcome.
That's Amor.
That's Amor. Streaming.
Two of the actors don't know how to pronounce it.
That's Amor. Olay.
Olay. On Netflix. Go watch it. Bye, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. Gregory, Paul, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget, That's Amor is streaming right now on Netflix. Please join me next week when Guiding Light and The Young and the Restless's Robert Newman joins me live, as well as The Little Mermaid herself, Disney legend Jodie Benson. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so. Turn on the notifications down below for reminders of all upcoming shows. And don't forget, you can stream, download audio versions of the show on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Search The Locker Room and download them. Have a great weekend, everybody. And please, please, please stay safe.